let's go to Book 2, Sutra 1 very quickly. Sri Patanjali tells us what makes Kriya Yoga. What does Kriya Yoga mean?
Love.
Kriya, practice. Practice. How do you practice yoga? You know, how do you practice yoga? What does he tell you? What are the 3 things he names in particular?
Tapas, Swadhyaya, and Pranidhana.
Wonderful. Now can somebody explain that in English? What is tapas?
Accepting but not causing pain.
Yeah, accepting pain and not causing it in return. Also, accepting pain as a purification process. Why are you suffering? Why are you in pain? It's not a punishment. Accepting it as it's purifying you. It's making you understand life much better. It's taking you closer to the truth. So when you accept it as that, it doesn't have so much force on you. The second one, Swadhyaya. What does that mean?
Studying spiritual books.
Yes. Why? Why should you study spiritual books? Anyone?
There's a truth.
It's the truth, but what other reason?
To focus your mind.
To focus your mind. To take your mind to a higher place. Is somebody crying? Oh, it's a dog. Baby. They're having a nice conversation there.
It's an Italian dog.
Oh my God.
No, the Italian dog. It's always crying.
You know why she says that? Because I said at the conference, we had the Italians they're so bhakti, they're so full of love, you know, and they were crying so much every time there was something that opened their hearts. They just started crying all the time, and it was actually quite endearing because the crying was so warm. It wasn't from anything else but the opening of the spirit, you know. It was coming from a very deep, deep place, so it was really very lovely to watch. So anyway, so let's go back to our work. The third one is, what does that mean?
Self-surrender.
Yeah, surrender, surrender. What do you feel when you surrender?
Free.
Free. Yeah, who said that? Yeah. When you're holding on and you surrender, accept, you feel free. And what else do you feel when you surrender?
Humility. Faith.
There is a sense, a deep sense of humility. A deep sense of humility. You know, when you try and you finally go, I give up, you know what? I just can't do it anymore. That feeling that you get that is so deep, and you just realize, you know, I don't know why I'm struggling so much. And you become extremely humble at that point. Because all the while, you think you're totally in control and you can fix life and fix people and fix things the way you want to do. And life keeps banging you and showing you can't fix everything. You just can't fix everything. And then it comes a point of acceptance. And then finally, acceptance sometimes can be a huge battle. Until you accept, it's a huge battle. And then when you accept, and then surrender. Surrender is a feeling of humility with, okay, you know, there's a force bigger than me. I give up. I'm done. And with it comes a sense of total freedom. Because the ego loves to resist the truth. It loves to resist that we're just temporary. It just loves to resist all the truth, which we're coming to in the next sutra. So what does Sri Nalanie tell us? That by practicing these things, it will minimize our obstacles. Then he goes on to mention the 5 obstacles that bring us back into bodily life. In other words, reincarnation. Why do we keep coming back and back and back? What is the cause of all our suffering? What is the cause of all our pain? What is the cause of all our desires and needs and wants? Why are we the way we are? Why are we so different from everybody else? Why are we an individual with individual problems? And then he answers. He tells us the 5 obstacles. What are the 5 obstacles called?
Glaciers.
Glaciers. The joint word for it is, can you all say it?
Glaciers.
Again.
Glaciers.
And there are 5 he mentions, right? 5 glaciers. The first one is?
Ignorance.
Good. The second one is? The third one is?
Attachment.
And the fourth one?
Hatred.
Or aversion. And the better word, he says hatred, but I like the word aversion better. And finally? So those 5 things are what keeps you coming back again and again and again. And he said the thing that causes it all is ignorance. So get some knowledge. If your life is not working for you, stop complaining. And it's very practical. If you look at it, such high knowledge, you can't understand the practicality of spirituality because you are living in the world. You can't avoid this world. You can't say, oh, I'm going to meditate and run away. It's not going to be that easy to run away. You can try all you want. So you have to be very, very practical. So if you're suffering, if things are not working for you, and life is tough, what should you do? Get knowledge. Knowledge about who you are, what you are, and what is life all about. I'd like to apologize at this point for the beeping of the alarm bell. Nobody knows how to work Rick's alarm.
Neither does he.
Neither does he when it goes wrong. And it's gone wrong and he's not here. Where is he? He's on holiday.
He's in Holland.
Yeah, he's in Holland. So if that bothers you, I'm really, really sorry. What can we do? We have to adapt, adjust.
So calm.
Accepting pain is helpful purification. What can we do? So ignorance is the basis of all our problems. And if you look at your life and you're really honest with yourself, many times, I don't like this, or I hate this, or I really like this. And maybe something you shouldn't really like. And the reason is you don't have enough knowledge about those things that cause the aversion or the attraction. If you have knowledge, then it cures a lot of your problems. So ignorance is the basis of all these things. And then what does he tell us ignorance is? How does he explain ignorance in his words? Anybody remember?
Doing the good ignorance and bad ignorance. Do you like?
No. Totally out. That's good. That's the next one. No. Before that.
No.
When you're ignorant, what do? You regard the impermanent as permanent.
Yeah.
Okay? So what's impermanent? Name me one thing that is impermanent.
Body.
Your life, your body. Correct. The most important tool you have. It's impermanent. And we regard it as permanent. Wow. We are fools, right? Isn't that the truth? It's impermanent. You know your body is impermanent. How do you want to live? What do you want to do with your life? What are you going to strive for? What is permanent to you? You need some grounding. If you know life is impermanent and you have no basis, that knowledge will swallow you up. This is why some people who only have spiritual knowledge in the sense of, I'm not permanent, I'm impermanent, but they have no grounding. And they don't have a trust in or a knowledge of something after, an energy or a soul, they get extremely frightened. How many people come to me and say, they have no religion, no problem. They have no belief system, no problem. It's really no problem. But then, like this gentleman came to me and he was dying of cancer. Panicked. cried and cried to me, he said, I've never believed in anything. And now I'm dying and I can't deal with it. He couldn't deal with it. He died miserably. He could not deal with his impermanence because he didn't understand it. There was no grounding on it. There was no knowledge. So he was like, where am I going to go? I don't want to die. And he was so sick. He was getting more and more sick, losing it. And he, of course, the death was horrible. When you see people struggling to die, it's a horrible death. So it's really important, even though you're spiritual, to be grounded while you're on earth. You need to be very practical. Be practical. And for people who are so practical, it is so important to be spiritual. And this is why I love this science of yoga. It works on all the aspects of who we are. Our body, our mind, and our spirit. Don't deny any of them. They're all part of your instrument, who you are and what you are. Someone says, oh, I'm so spiritual. My body is not important. I can wear dirty clothes and have dirty feet and starve in the streets. Does it work? Does it give you peace? You're begging all the time. You're insulting people. You're not using your God-given gift of living in this world. Do you see? It's an easy way out. Being spiritual means taking responsibility. So there's a lot of things one has to learn. And then he says also, ignorance is regarding the impure as pure. Anybody want to give an example?
Drugs.
Drugs. Absolutely. How many people say, oh, only by these drugs I get really high, I get very close to God, I can really see things. And I said, very, very few people can do that in this world, maybe a handful. And you certainly can't do that. You're not in this handful. They don't like it when I tell them. A few years down the road, if they don't stop. Most people I've seen that deal with spirituality and deal with drugs, they end up going a little crazy. In any tradition, they go a little bit crazy. They develop schizophrenia. In my early days of counseling, the God sent me these wonderful examples. I happen to have many 25, 26, 27-year-old people come to see me. And they were very, from schizophrenia. They were fine one moment, they were telling me, and then suddenly, for no reason, they'd lose their temper, they start screaming, they start shouting. And they said it never happened to them before. So in all the cases of schizophrenia that I worked with at that particular time, there was a thread between the ages of 18 and 23 or 22. All of them indulged heavily in drugs. They'd stopped by the time they came to me. In fact, there was one person who was suicidal, and he couldn't understand why he was suicidal. There was no reason why he was suicidal. Every time he got depressed, he wanted to die, We tried looking at the psychology of his life. Nothing wrong. And then we went back to one of the occasions that when he had taken some drugs, and he said he had a blackout, and apparently he had beaten up his friends or something, and came back, he hadn't even realized he had done any of it. So that fear was embedded deeply in him after that experience. So the memory of it, so deep in his subconscious that he wasn't even aware that the memory of it was causing him this desire to die because he was so ashamed. So ashamed. He literally nearly killed his best friend. So the memory took, although he was not aware, it was deep in his subconscious. You see, many people do things that sometimes they just put down to the bottom of the lake. We call them the samskaras, where all your past lies. And until they're cured and healed, it's very hard to get on in life. Very hard to get on in life. So we discovered that. We discovered that this was the problem. So thank you. don't use it for your high. You want to get high? Get high on your own spiritual high. The energy that is you. The vibrance that is you. The joy of being you. The joy of being free in being you. The joy of not worrying. Acceptance, laughter. That is spiritual. Steady, strong. Simply good. Simple. Not complicated. Take the pure path. Do not look for siddhis or powers on this path. You will be very disappointed. Don't look for the quick high. Doesn't work. You go up quickly, you bang, you come down quickly too. Slow and steady. I remember one time Krishna Das gave a workshop in Oaxaca and many of us went, about 20 of us. And he said that when he first went into the, on the spiritual path, when he first went on the, thank you for doing that. When he first went on the spiritual path, he said, he used to be on drugs. And he went to India to find his truth. And then when he went there, he said, scary thing was when he was on these drugs, he said once he saw Lord Jesus, he actually saw him. And he got on such a high, but he could not keep him there. So when he came down with such a low. And he wanted that experience, what he felt when he had that moment. But he couldn't do it ever again. And so he got low and more depressed that he couldn't get to that. And no amount of drugs would get him to that. Till he met his master, Neem Karoli Baba. And his Baba said in order to cure himself and to get that high naturally, his job in this life was to do kirtan, to sing. Many of you have heard his chants, Krishna Das? Yeah? He's very famous worldwide, very, very famous. So, that's what he did. And now he gets his high with his mantra chanting. Much better. No side effects. And finally he says, regarding the painful as pleasant, which you all understand, and the non-self as the self. You all understand that? The non-self as the self. It's a bit like you are not, right? But you think you are. So, anyway, that's very complicated. We really don't want to go too far into that. And this is why the chant, Chidanam, Chidanam, Chidanam Nam, which means knowledge, bliss, bliss absolute. In all conditions I am knowledge, bliss absolute. Sing it with me. Knowledge, bliss, bliss absolute. In all conditions I am knowledge, bliss absolute. Keep reminding yourself, you are Sat, Chid, Ananda. Truth, consciousness, awareness, and bliss. That's who you are. We've just forgotten. Everything else is temporary. So keep repeating so that you know that. Then he talks about egoism, the second one, right? No, then he talks the 4 stages of ignorance. The 4 stages in ignorance. And he explains it very clearly. Kamala, can you do the 4 stages? You just said it.
Dormant, shall I do the whole? Ignorance is the field for the others mentioned after it, whether they be dormant, feeble, intercepted, or sustained.
Okay, that's very complicated, very easy. Dormant. Thank you. Like good, she studied it. It's like when you see a baby. You can't tell the baby's ignorance. Baby doesn't know anything, right? But deep in the baby, all the ignorance, its personality is hidden until the child grows up. Then he says it's intercepted. Feeble. Thank you. That's the yogi who has practiced for a long time. You've practiced for a long time. So you know, your whole mannerism understands what gives you peace, what does not give you peace. However, these subtle desires that sometimes get you in trouble are there in your mental lake. They're there. They're still there. They still can trap you. Can still, like, let's say you've given up drugs, and maybe 10 years later somebody comes and says, well, you're strong now. You can do it. There's no problem. You know, have a cigarette of marijuana, and you think, yeah, I can now. I'm strong. It's still there, and it can still trap you if you're not careful. It can still trap you. It can still get you in trouble. And that's the feeble, but it's very feeble. And normally you can say, no, been there, done it, don't need to do it again. And the next one is intercepted. In the case of people who are beginning with spiritual practices, they're learning to control and restrain their thoughts a little bit. They're learning that don't run with all the materialism, learn to look within for the peace, but they're still a little weak.
Like us.
I think you guys are pretty good. I don't know, what do you do in your personal life? Somebody was telling me the other day, Nalanie, that's what everybody tells you. You think everybody's so good, and behind your back they do all kinds of things. It's true.
But that's how
Me too. Then another one was telling me that.
But then it's our own problem without conscious. If we do that, that's even worse.
That because then you're lying on top of it.
Yes.
So I go, you know what? Everybody will work it out for themselves. What can I do? All you can do is hopefully plant a seed somewhere, and you know, when they're in trouble, they have that seed to turn back to so that they don't drown. That's all. That's all I can do, nothing else. The rest is up to everybody else. I still love everybody. It doesn't make a difference to me, truthfully. You know, like you said, they have to face their own consequences. No matter how much I want their life to be so beautiful and cause and effect, which we're going to talk about today, it's not up to me, it's not in my hands. So I believe everybody's looked after. So, and finally, the sustained state of ignorance is a person who has no knowledge. No knowledge. Just lives life, goes to work, collects things, collects this, collects that. No knowledge of, you know, just let's live here today, in this world, today, let's lust, let's do this, let's do that. Not worried about who they hurt, what consequences, what actions. Just whatever. No thought into the mission in life, no thought about their lives. And that's sustained. So then he tells us, after all that, then he talks about hatred. No, then he talks about egoism next. What is egoism? Egoism is when you think your individual personality is the most important thing in the world. It's the only thing is in the world. And when I first started yoga, as I tell you many times, you know, when I started listening to my own mind, when I started to meditate, I could hear my mind think. And I was shocked because everything that was going on in my mind was, why can't this person do this for me? And I this, and I need, and I want, and I. No wonder I was miserable. Everybody should understand me. It was never about me understanding anybody else. And that's when we click, the consciousness just changed with the practice of meditation. And I started to understand the teachings, all the great scriptures. Before you judge anybody, before you judge yourself, before anything, try and put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Such a simple statement. I never did that. I thought I did with my own perception, thinking my perception was right and everybody was wrong. Boy, was I wrong. And then when I started counseling and started with spirituality, I realized that everybody was the same. And most people have I, me, and mine in their brain. And they think they're the most important thing in the world. And this can be a big problem to you in your life. Because it'll only exist while you are here. When you die, that ego has no value anymore. So that's egoism. Then he talks to us next about, attachment. You all know about attachment and possessiveness, and I think that's a big one with human beings, right? Sometimes we love something, instead of just loving it for what it wants, we want ownership. And that's also okay. Ownership is okay, so long as it doesn't, you don't destroy the other person with your possessiveness. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, very clearly explains this. I think it's chapter 2, Sutra, slokas 62 and 63. Yes, I think it is. And it says, from brooding on sense objects. What are sense objects? Things that are outside of you. Comes attachment to them. From the attachment comes the desire to own it, to have it. From desires unfulfilled comes anger. From anger, loss of discrimination. Your intellect doesn't work anymore. Sorry, from anger comes loss of memory. Have you noticed when you're angry, you forget everything in the past, you only remember the anger of the moment. Isn't it like that way? You know, if you get angry at a partner, for example, like I used to in the old days, and I go, Dad, why did you do this? And he goes, you always remember only the bad things. You never remember the good things. I don't know if any of your partners have said that to you. You never remember the 100 good things. You only remember, no, never was there any. I really was convinced that there was no good things, which is loss of memory. How dumb, how untrue, how false was that statement? Totally false. Totally false. And you know, this is very interesting because I love this psychology. Because when people have breakdowns in their marriages, right, and they come to see me and they want to split, boy, they can't find one good thing to say about the other person. And then I go, that's not true, because that would make you really an idiot. So why? Then why would you have married this person if you didn't think there was one good thing at the time you got married? And then I jar their memory, because they're so angry that they've forgotten. So I jar their memory. And then I said, tell me about your wedding. Tell me about your engagement. What was your dress? What was your suit like? And what was the day like? And then they normally start crying at that point. Some softness comes in again. Some softness. So just to take away the edge of that cruelty or that harshness that two people have for each other when they want to leave each other. I said, there's no need for that. You want to leave nicely, but there's no need for this horrible attitude and cruel. And it doesn't even make you feel good. So comes loss of memory. From loss of memory, there's no discrimination. You make all the wrong decisions. And if you make all the wrong decisions, guess what? You're ruined. Your life is ruined. And haven't you seen that? So many times in your life when people take a wrong decision, and they want to argue about the children. I heard the other day that a couple split. They were so angry with each other that one partner took the child for 6 months to England and the other one to Germany for 6 months. And the poor child is going to be so confused, adjusting in schools. You know, where is the discrimination? Where is the logic? Poor child is going to be like a ping pong ball. To please what? And do you think the parents are bad? No, they just got caught up in their own anger. So they lost their memory. So the consequences of these actions will come back to haunt you. They will. Mostly the children end up extremely disturbed. And I've seen many of those. So you don't really want to do that. So if you want to split, I tell people, that's up to you. But do it nicely. Talk to your children, be kind to them. Say you don't get along, but you want to be happy and you want your children, you don't want to argue. There's so many nice ways to tell the children. And be fair. Be fair. So, but ego comes in, I want my child to love me more, not you more, and that the poor child loves mom and daddy the same. For them, I love my mom, I love my dad. Even if my dad is more wrong or my mom is more wrong, I still love them. So they get very confused. So that is where attachment can make you lose yourself. So many people with a car or a computer breaks down. Oh my God. in bad mood for weeks until they can buy a new one that's better than that one. They don't have the money to buy a new computer or a new car. My God, their life is miserable. I've seen it so many times. So miserable. 3-4 months, they're miserable. They wasted 3 or 4 months of their lives. I go, do you know this time is never going to come back again? And you chose to spend it being miserable over a computer? God bless you. Where are your values? How do you feel about yourself, your life? But you see, people get locked, okay? So the next one is aversion. Aversion. Aversion is also not a good thing. We say, I don't want this, or I don't like this. I'm not going there. You're not able to forgive and let go. It's not like disregard. It doesn't bother me anymore. These people can do this. It's an aversion. And I always say love and hate are very close. When you love someone, you think about them all the time. When you hate someone, guess what? You think about them all the time. Same. So aversion stays in your mind, creates lots of thought forms, a lot of vriddis. So look out for that. And finally, clinging to bodily life. Exist even in the wise. Even wise people are frightened when they have to lose their body. So prepare yourself for death. Don't be ignorant. Read about death and dying, like I've given you some names of great books. Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche, Christine Longjaker, Finding Hope and Facing Death. There are many great books up now on death and dying. Study about it. Become friends with death. So when your time comes, you're prepared. At least you can help yourself at your last moments. And give your family peace to know that you can help yourself at your last moments. So get the education. We're all going to die. Educate yourself. Don't wait till you're too old to do that. You never know when your time is up. Education on that one. So now we get to Sutra 10. And here he says, in the subtle form, these obstacles I'm going to read 10 and 11 because I'm going to tell them the other way around, okay? In subtle form, these obstacles can be destroyed by resolving them into their primal cause, ego. 11. In the active state, they can be destroyed by meditation. Let's do this one first, Sutra 11. All of us have traces of ignorance, egoism, aversion, attachment, and clinging to our lives. All of us have traces, we call them samskaras. We all have this within ourselves. Now, what happens when you meditate, when you start to meditate? I mentioned earlier, you learn to watch your thoughts, right? The secret is to watch what keeps coming up again and again and again. Be smart, alright? If something keeps coming up again and again and again, it means you have to attend to it. Don't tell it to go away, even if it's something bad. So attachment, aversion, doesn't matter. Because sometimes, I have to be spiritual, so I can't think this bad thought, but it keeps coming up. I can't think this bad thought, but it keeps coming up. I can't think it. It's just going to stay there in denial. And one day you'll explode because you're not honest with yourself. What is the nature of you? Truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. So if you're not totally truthful with yourself, you can never find peace, total peace. You can find temporary peace, not total peace. So watch for this, because many people miss this in meditation. Let me give you a story to explain it, and then I'll teach you how to do it. All right? It's a shortcut. When I first started meditation, I was still working in the shop. I'd been meditating a year, and somebody walks into my shop. I was still working retail all day. Somebody walks into my shop and says to me, she said, Nalanie, what have you been doing? I see a great change in you this year. You seem like a different person. And I said, doing? I go, well, I think I've just started with meditation this 1 year. And then she goes, wow, I don't understand it, because I've been meditating for 18 years. And I get so depressed, and you look better, and you just do it 1 year. And I said, no, I don't know anything. I mean, my master just told me to meditate, and I just did it. And he said to purify my mind, and that's all I'm doing. And she goes, but I've been meditating 18 years, and I get so depressed, and I get so angry, I get so frustrated. So I said, do you mind telling me what happens when you meditate? Do you mind talking to me about it? I said, no. So she sat down with me, got my assistant to look after the shop, went into the back room. I was really curious, because I thought, if she meditates 18 years and she gets depressed and everything, what's the point? I don't want to do it. I got scared, I really did. And so she said to me, because at that time I had lots of doubts, right? I wasn't as clear the first year of meditation as I am now. So she said to me, well, when I sit down, I just think why my life is the way it is. I try to keep away those thoughts, but they keep coming up. I have such old family, I always have to look after my parents and my husband's parents. I'm always having to cook for them, they're always getting sick. Why me? Poor me. And I go, is that what you do in your meditation? Yes, and I say, I shouldn't think of it, but they keep coming up and I get so depressed. I said, why? Isn't that what you do? I said, when those horrible thoughts come up, I look at them. I said, why am I feeling like this? What can I do to change it? And then if I can't do anything, I don't like to make myself miserable. So I said, okay, God, give me an answer. I actually surrender, I actually pray, give me an answer. Or life, give me an answer. Universe, give me an answer. And I leave it for a little while, and then I start to inject in my brain beautiful images. Images of light. At that time I was meditating on Gurudev a lot. Had his first, I said, meditate on my master, and when I think of my master, I think of all these lovely qualities. Kindness, goodness, wisdom. And I said, that's the answer. Whatever you, meditation takes you to a force field, an energy field. It magnifies whatever you are thinking. Magnifies it. So if you're in denial and anger and I'm trying to sit here and meditate, what will happen? The frustration will grow. So that was very clearly answered to me. And that's how I'm able to tell you when you meditate. And since I've met so many people, so I thank this lady because she really gave me a good guide into understanding the Sutra. When you meditate, some of these things come up. Aversion, attraction, ignorance, etc., etc. They cause vrittis, waves in the mind. Now they're active, you can see it. They're no longer buried in your subconscious. So let's say, for example, in my case in the early days, there was somebody who was causing me a lot of pain. Like I said, I was always thinking about that person. Why? Aversion. Always. So that person always came to my mind negatively. So what did I do? I asked my master at that point. I said, Gurudev, really this person just keeps in my mind all the time. I can't do anything. This is how I feel. I really don't like this person. I really can't like this person. And then he said to me, Nalanie, do you want peace? I said, yes. And then he says, then what you do is every day before you start meditation, see this person, bless them every day. I said, Gurudev, I can't do that. That would make me a hypocrite. Egoism came in. I can't do that. I don't want to be a hypocrite. You know? Aversion, egoism, false truth, everything, ignorance, everything came in that one sentence. And then he said, do you want peace? And I go, yes, but, and again, do you want peace? And I go, surrender, yes, I want peace. And do it day and do it. Yes, you will feel like a hypocrite in the beginning. You will. But over time, that practice, if you really, with a sincere heart, want peace. Did you see the desire was now? Not to destroy this person and may that person be pain. Although I didn't say those words, but my psyche was saying it. My psyche was deeply saying it. I was now thinking, I really want peace. What's more important? The peace or the anger? The peace was far outweighed the anger. So then I took this woman and blessed her every day. And true, for the first month I did it, but I really worked on it every day, so hard, because I was desperate for peace. And Sri Patanjali tells us, to the keen and intent practitioner, this samadhi comes very quickly. I hadn't studied the sutras at that time. Huh? I only studied the sutras 5 years after meditation. 5 years after meditation, yeah. So this was even before studying this. So then I was very lucky, because for the first 6 months of practice, I didn't have to be in front of this person. Then came the time when I had to be, and I thought, all this practice, what if it hasn't worked? What if I see this person, I'm just going to feel that old, that feeling, the hot skin, and all that. And I go, what if that happens again? But when I saw that person, I got a shock. I felt nothing but compassion. Nothing but compassion. I had learned not to like the traits of that person, except this person had these horrible traits of trying to attack people. But what took over was I accepted that this person had this personality. I don't have to play with that personality anymore, because I felt compassion. Compassion took over. Poor her. I would hate to be her. In her mind, God bless her. Give her some peace. Do you see? So when, in your active state, when they come up, fix it.
Sometimes you have to fake it until you make it a little bit.
Good girl. Nice one. I'll quote you on that. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. But your intention is to make it. You see?
Yeah.
Good girl. Exactly right. Exactly right. And it's really worth it. So this is what it said. And then it says in its subtle state, when it's so subtle that even it doesn't come up in meditation, you have to bring it back to its primal cause. What does that mean? The only way you can wash away this ignorance or this pain or this deep samskaras is to understand who you really are. By understanding that you're really not this body, not this mind, you're immortal, by really understanding that, then none of these things are going to bother you.
Can I just ask you,
Yes.
in meditation, I'm always trying to throw away my thoughts. So I should maybe let my thoughts run a bit more.
Yeah, you know what I used to do? Give it 10 minutes, or at least a little while, 5 or 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and let whatever comes. And then after that, I tell my mind,
Yes, no.
okay, I've given you time. If you haven't got a solution by now, is enough playing with the mind stuff, because then it can be like that woman going on and on and on. If there's any particular thought in those 10 minutes that's worrying me, right? For example, I have to go and get the groceries, some of those thoughts come to your mind. So I mentally do it in my head. I make a plan in my head.
Yes.
Okay, after this meditation, by 11:30 I'll do this, by 12. So I tell my mind,
Until you
I
get
got a
it
solution.
sorted, yes.
So then it stops. It
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. And then I start to do, that time in the beginning I didn't have a mantra, but later on I just start using a mantra and looking at the picture and thinking lovely thoughts, thinking good thoughts, because in the beginning you can't just take away your thoughts.
No.
So first you change them to good thoughts, and then after you get good thoughts, the mind becomes quiet. After a long time where you just have very nice thoughts, then you do the mantra. And when you do a mantra, after a while, you even let that go. So it's a process. You find something that works with you, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, till you get the result you want. And one day, when you least expect it, you think it's never going to work, you think you're never going to quieten the mind, suddenly you come out of meditation and you feel so dynamic. And you don't think the mind's been quiet. You don't think you've been doing anything different. But all you can feel is this new energy. Then you know you've meditated. Then you know you've meditated. And I see today everybody looks a little tired. Have you a long day today? Is it the wind?
It's the weather.
It's the weather.
Boundary
Yes,
change.
yes. And makes everybody very, very sleepy. So what I'll do is, I will do this next sutra, and then maybe I'll leave the next 12 to 14 for next
Would
week.
like to go.
Next week is the last week before the
Next
exam,
week
right?
is the
Oh,
last.
yes,
the
we're
last week
supposed
for
to
the
do
exam.
revision, yes.
Yeah, and also the karma.
Karma, you were going to talk about karma.
This is karma.
Ah.
This is karma.
Ah.
And then after the exam, don't worry, I'll spend, this is practical. This is what karma is. But after the exam, since so many people are interested in karma, we will do 2 or 3 talks after that, just on cause and effect,
Good.
and karma and reincarnation and all that. But after your exam, this is just very technical information, all right? And the next one, okay, let's do this quickly. Okay, why don't we give you like close your eyes for 2 minutes. A little sleep time. And then you'll feel better. Take a slow deep breath. And exhale fully and completely. Just feel your shoulders relaxing, back of your neck relaxing, arms, legs, feet, everything just relaxing. And just relax. Feel yourself going into this deep rest. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you have to do, just a deep rest, quiet, letting go. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti. Slow, deep breath. every single cell in your body vibrating with energy, life. Imagine tingling in your fingertips. It's a great force of energy comes from the pranic field into your crown of your head, down through your brain, down your spine, up your spine again, down your spine again, filling it with energy, light, joy, peace. And then whenever you're ready, open your eyes and then give your body a good stretch. Good. That's it. A little slow. Little shut eye so it doesn't get so heavy. So let's go to the next sutra, Sutra 12. Who'd like to read that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The womb of karmas, actions and reactions, has its roots in these obstacles, and the karmas bring experiences in the seen, present, or in the unseen, future births.
Okay, here it tells you exactly why you were born again and again and again, like I said earlier on. It's all based on these obstacles, your return to life. And some of your karma comes in this body, in this lifetime, but others will come in future or unseen lifetimes. Gurudev explains to us in his translation what exactly is karma. It's the law of cause and effect. As you sow, you reap. It's a scientific law. It's just one of the laws of the universe. Right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Same thing, that's scientific. So here it tells you everything has that. So if anything happens to you, if you understand the law of karma, you will stop blaming the outside world for your sorrows and your woes. Because while you're blaming everybody, you can never find peace. Try it. You will never find peace. But when you start to accept responsibility for everything that happens to you, peace enters. Now karma is divided into three. Agami, Sanjita, and Prarabdha. Now, Agami is now, in the present. It's the only one you can do something with. That's why all the great masters say, live in the moment. This is the only moment you have. This is the only moment you have that you can change your life with. Any moment beside this one doesn't work. This is, at every single second, is when you have that freedom to change your entire life. So that's Agami. So what
I'm
happens?
just wondering who it was.
There's the gardener, I think.
Just wondering who it was.
So Agami is the one that you can do something about now. So now, if you're getting frustrated and angry, you can say Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the restraint of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga. Do I really need to throw out these swear words? Do I want them coming back at me? Do I want this process to repeat itself? No. No, thank you. So you know what? I'm not going to bother to swear. I'm going to find another route, a road to peace. Do you see how it works? So this is how you can work with Agami karma and with knowledge. With ignorance, you don't have that ability. Somebody swears at you, you go, oh my God, how dare you, and you swear back, and then there's a huge vicious circle of pain, sorrow, trouble, you know. In the end, I hear people breaking down their cars and breaking down their houses and all kinds of things, just because of no restraining of the mind stuff. So agami karma is what you can do now. Prarabdha karma is what you've done before that comes back to you in this life.
And you say to end the word?
Prarabdha karma. Yeah. So, sometimes things happen to people, like when Ramakrishna had cancer of the throat, all his disciples said to him, "You're such a saint, you're such a good soul. How can Goddess Kali, who all you've done for this world, give you this?" And he said, "No, this is my own karma. Somewhere I must have done something. But look, I have this, but I feel no anger, no pain." So, the world could not understand why he was suffering. But he was totally understanding that cause and effect. And this body, this lifetime, took on that effect from a previous lifetime. So he was very peaceful with it. Okay, get it? This is why many people say it's holy people. Why do they get heart attacks? Aren't they supposed to, why do they get sick? Mother Teresa had 6 heart attacks, Aren't they supposed to go beyond it all? No. That's why sometimes when people get sick, there was a time when I had students who got sick or sometimes they just got a cold, and they'd go, "Oh my God, why did I get a cold? What's wrong with my thinking?" So there's nothing wrong with your thinking. "No, but I read in this book, if I have a cold, it means something's wrong in my life." And then they go on and get stressed. I said, "You got a cold, accept it." Anyway, you can think all you want about why you got a cold. You'll never know the real reason. You just make yourself nervous. It was really funny when I fractured my foot. I must tell you this story. One person cried, "Oh, Nalanie, why did you do?" Because I really had black toes and it was really bad. And I was really quite happy with it. But somebody was really crying, "Why did this happen to you?" I said, "Why not? I must have kicked somebody in my past life and got it back in this life twice. I fractured the same foot twice, can you believe it?" So I said, "It doesn't bother me, I must have done something." Another person goes, "Oh, Nalanie, I heard that some people who don't like you," that some Catholics were praying, and I don't believe that, doesn't matter, praying up in the mountain that something will happen to you because they say you're practicing witchcraft. So they're practicing witchcraft on you by praying something bad happens to you. So maybe that's why you got that. Oh, okay. Another person, "Oh, Nalanie, you've been working so hard. So that's your lesson, you have to rest." Okay. Listen to the amount of reasons, right? And this went on. And finally, at Satsang, I said, "I know you all think all those things about why I fractured my foot. Me? Simple. It's karma, and I'm going to enjoy it. Wherever it came from, I'm not going to change it anyway. Now, you tell me I feel stuck in my life because you read in some book that breaking your foot means you're stuck in life. I don't feel stuck. But if you'd like to think I feel stuck, good. You think it. But if I thought, I'm really looking at myself, do I look as if I'm stuck? And you go, no, then that's how I feel. If I was stuck, I would look stuck. I would feel, I'm stuck, I need to move, I'm frustrated. Correct? Or the fact is I'm not frustrated. So you think I am, except I'll think about it for a second, ask myself. Answer is, no, you're not angry, you're not frustrated, so why should I take on your thoughts? Do you see? Now, very interesting, what I've learned about human behavior. Sometimes they get ill. Their friends will tell them a million such things like what they told me. They believe them all. So what happens with the mind? Da-da, maybe this, maybe that, maybe that. So not only do they have the illness that they got huge amounts of guilt, huge amounts of negative feelings about themselves. And when you're negative about yourself, can you heal? You cannot heal. So do you see how this knowledge helps you? Cause and effect. Simple. I always say keep it simple. If, however, when you're meditating, there's a thought that keeps constantly coming up in your mind that disturbs you and you haven't sorted, maybe that's the reason why let's say somebody else had broken their foot, needed that time out to think about it. I didn't need time out. I went to Satsang with my broken foot and my Costa and my crutches. So it was just a broken foot, no big deal. I'm not going to miss my life. Oh, you must... For what? It's only a broken foot. My head still works. Do you see? So this helps you to understand. This is what the Sutra is saying. So, and finally, Sanjita Kama. Many lifetimes you've been here. So many. Buddha remembered all of his 500,000 lifetimes. So, because your energy moves from one place to another. Just like pollen moves from one field to another. As the bee takes the pollen off the flower, it takes it to another one, it transforms another flower, creates a new flower just by mixing the pollen. It's really very interesting. And you watch it in nature all the time, in the fields, yellows and purples and orange and reds, It's beautiful how it cross-pollinates, And everything has got this myriad of beautiful colors, right? So just like that, Sanjita, many seeds that we have planted in many different lifetimes. And this lifetime, we have a certain body, a certain mindset, come to a certain family to fulfill only partially some of our karmas. Only some of our karmas, not all. Because maybe to fulfill the rest of them, we need another kind of body. However, with knowledge, you can destroy all your karmas, and the Sanjita karma may never come to fruition. Let me give you an explanation how Gurudev explains it, which I think is beautiful. Imagine you have an archer. He has an arrow. There is, how in the olden days they used to have a quiver, and they used to take the arrows from this bag at the back? The bag at the back with all the arrows, all the lifetimes you still have to have. That's Sanjita karma, and all that you brought with you in your consciousness. Agami is, you can decide where to direct your arrow. Prarabdha is the arrow already directed, already done. Is that understood? Does that make it clearer?
Yeah.
Okay? Sanjita. So, if Agami gets bullseye this time on the dartboard, right on the thing, you don't need to do another. You won. You're done. You're finished. I don't need the whole thing. I'm done. I had my turn. I got it. Bullseye. I won the competition. Do you need to win again and again and again? No more. You don't have to come back. Got it? So Agami, this is why all the masters today say, live in the moment. So important, because when you're living in the moment, boy, you can change everything. Did you ever see the film Sliding Doors?
Yeah.
With Gwyneth Paltrow? Just by one decision, a few seconds, how her entire life changed. And that's Agami Karma. Interesting, right? Okay, and the final, is it final? With the existence, 13, with the existence of the root, there will be fruits also. Namely, the birds of different species of life, their lifespans and experiences. All he's saying here is, wherever you have a root, in other words, wherever you have a seed, wherever you planted a seed, wherever you put down a seed, there will be the fruit of it. It will bear fruit. There will be an effect. Wherever there is a cause, there will be effect. And it's not only that you'll come back in a human form. Species could be amoeba, it could be angels, it could be whatever, depending on what you do. Whatever species, the seeds that you sow could bring you back in a certain form. And that's all it's saying. And give you different lifespans, how long your life is, what kind of experiences you have, all determined by the seeds that you have sown. And the karmas bear fruits of pleasure and pain caused by merit and demerit. Good deeds bring good karmas. Bad deeds bring bad karma. In yoga, what do? We try to transcend good and bad. We transcend it all. We look from above.
But how do you be a good amoeba? I mean, how can you get out of, you come back as an amoeba, what on earth are you going to do different to every other amoeba? You're going to come back as something else.
Because maybe you need to work out that. Maybe, let's say you were very tamasic in this life, and you did nothing with your life. Maybe you come back for amoeba for a short period of time, just to wear that experience off of being tamasic, that karma off.
So we can only work with our karmas in human form? Or
We work in our karmas all form, but human form is the only form where we have the choice to change things. It's the only form that we have intelligence to change things. Poor dogs, they're there.
Yeah, they can't make choices.
But everybody makes the choices for them. But we can stand up and say yes or no. We give them the intelligence.
And that's a gift.
That is a gift. And we can work with agami karma. So we're done. That's your syllabus. So next week, I'd like you all to go home and read this as your homework. It's a lot to take in. It's very deep. The explanation that Gurudev has given is very good. Read it again and again till it becomes part of your knowledge, till it becomes part of your really understanding it. Even if you like, draw a picture of a man with a bow and an arrow and write down the different things so that you really understand it. Why do you do this exercise? Do it on a board over on your notebook over. You're having tea or coffee with your friends in the morning. Take a notebook and draw it. Because it will put into your deep subconscious mind how important it is to live in the now. Because when you really understand it, keep it. This is why they normally say after satsang or initiation, you shouldn't go out too much and disperse the knowledge. Because what happens is if you keep it within, it goes deep into your subconscious. It stays there deep. But today we've got technology, so if you forget today, you can, thanks to Ole, you can look at the website and you can get the knowledge again and again and again. But really think about it. Because when it's deep there, then you live it, then you become it. It's no longer, I have to study this Sutra, and what does it mean? And okay, the karmas bring pain and sorrow, but you're not absorbing it. Okay? Absorb it into every single cell of your body so that you can live a great life, yes.
I just want to share, Shiva in Swindon said to me once when he was here staying with us, he said, the more you talk about it, the less you do it. The practice.
Yeah.
So keep it,
Yeah, that's
you know, with,
Yeah.
And I really took that to heart, you know,
Yeah.
because we talk so much.
It's mind stuff again.
Yeah.
Keep it. The real way to keep it. I remember when I used to listen to Satsang with Gurudev, the little I saw him in my lifetime, and the ashram, and everybody afterwards, would you want to go for cookies and, hot chocolate in the lotus? And I go, oh, oops. And I go, no, if you don't mind, I really like to go to my room, you know? No, that was antisocial, but it was like, I need to put this in my cell. I felt I wanted to get it. I felt like that was what I needed, you know? And and many people talk about the talk, but they didn't absorb it. And I noticed that. You can discuss it. Sometimes through friends, when you discuss something, I didn't understand this and I didn't understand that, and then you get it. Depends on your personality also. My personality to learn, I need to see it again and again and again. I need to draw it. I need to see a picture, a very clear picture. And once I see a clear picture, click, 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 it's inside. But until I don't get that visualization in my mind, I don't get it. You know, if it's not clear here, it won't go into my subconscious. That's what I've learned. So I know my character. I know how I need to learn. I know how I learn quickly, how I learn slowly. So I use these techniques. Know yourself. What helps you to move forward? What techniques? And use those techniques. Learn about yourself. Yeah, absolutely. The silent time will help you to understand. And then you can use Agami Karma perfectly.